Welcome to EVOLV, where we have fearless, unfiltered, unapologetic conversation with host Chanel Spencer, author, speaker, and CEO of Maximum Evolution. Are you ready? I hope you're ready.
I'm recording. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of EVOLV, where we have fearless, unfiltered, and unapologetic conversation because it is mandatory, and that's just what we do. So today I have a special guest that I'm super excited about. As you know, we have been working on an anthology project where we have 20 authors who are talking about how they broke patterns, overcame adversities, and stepped into their greatness. It is titled The Evolution Effect because everybody needs to evolve. Everybody has to have an evolution in their life. And today, our special guest is an amazing woman and author. I think she's like super great. And her name is Chenequa Terrell. Say hello to the beautiful people, Chenequa.
Hey, beautiful people. How y'all doing?
Yes, I'm so excited. So Chenequa is originally from San Diego, California, and currently resides in Casa Grande, Arizona. Is it hot there?
It is so hot. Triple digits.
Oh no, I'll be passing out. She's a proud wife to Wesley and a mommy to two beautiful and luscious boys named Baron and Bishop. Oh, that's so cute. I love that name. Her family is her greatest joy and accomplishment. Yes, I absolutely love it. She pours every ounce of herself into them, and now she is ready to allow some of that energy into giving her dreams in literature some love and attention. Yes, I love it. Her passion for writing sparked her mother gift her. Okay, we're gonna have to cut that out. I'm gonna pause so I can cut it. So tell us about your chapter. I'm super excited. Let's get into your chapter. So why did you title your chapter Lessons in Flight?
I chose that title because for me, I've always been fascinated in the flight versus fight response and why you choose it. For me, and my trigger was love, and it always triggered panic. So I was a flyer, and I had to learn how not to be. So that's why I chose that title.
Gotcha. So what can we expect? Or tell us a little bit about your chapter.
Okay, so I come from what people would call a broken family. My parents divorced when I was about 7 or 8 years old. They had it was not healthy. They argued a lot, and my mother would leave whenever there was arguments. My dad would want to stay and fight. And so I just remember the arguments and how it felt as a child to kind of go through that. And so I just knew that I didn't like to argue. So anytime that I found myself in a relationship and things started to get serious and I'd have commitment issues, I'd be like, I'm out of here. Bye. This is too much for me. And it would keep me from diving fully into the process. So it wasn't until I met who's now my husband that made me really examine those parts of me. That was uncomfortable to admit that, oh, you're patterning the same behavior that hurt. But he helped me see that sometimes you just have to stand and not necessarily fight and argue, but to fight for what you love.
Right, because sometimes what we experience or see as a child, we either become that or run from that, right? Exactly. And it literally dictates how we maneuver in the world, how we see things, how we respond to things, how we don't respond to things.
You can be like, oh, I'll never do that. And you find yourself doing the same exact thing.
Right? And you're like, really? Like, honestly, I will say, like, literally the last 10 years of my life has literally been my mother's life. Like, literally, like, it's unreal to me. I'm just like, what is happening? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, I am my mom.
Right. And it's like, it's a good in a way because it helped me to, like, I'm I'm very driven and self-motivated because of who she is and who I saw her be. But then relationally, oh my gosh, I'm a child. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Double-edged sword, because at one point you're like, oh, I love my mom. She's strong. She's fierce. She's all that I could ever dream to be. But at other times, there's other parts where you're like, that I might not want to take that along.
Right. And it's just like you kind of have to like become the person to break the cycles.
Yes.
And sometimes you don't even realize that there's a cycle to be broken.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's really great that you were like, yeah, I see that and I don't like it. You know what I mean? And I don't want to emulate that. But at the same time, on the flip side, it's like I'm instead of facing it head on, I'm avoiding it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, this is about to get turn left. I'm out. You know what I mean?
Where's my purse? Where's my keys? I'm out of here.
Right. Or if it comes to a place of sabotage. So you'll sabotage something because you're like, I see something coming. It may be in my mind, but I know it. So like, let me just mess it up in some way. You know what I'm saying?
Good over there. This is too right.
Listen,
I don't like that.
Trust me. I'd be like, just no. And I'm gone. So I get it. I 100% get it. So in your chapter, you said their verbal fights were catastrophic enough to send my little brother seeking refuge in my room and my mother running to my grandmother's house, recalling comforting my brother as I stared at my ceiling, trying to block out their arguments. I'm not surprised that I chose flight as well. By the time I was 8, my parents were divorced and my mother, brother, and I went to live with my grandmother. So what were your experiences? Expand on that.
My brother and I are really close. So I can see that picture in the time in my head of the times he would be there and scared. You know, you don't know what's going on and all you know is your parents are arguing and that it's frightening and it hurts. And so we went from being the typical nuclear family with a mother, father, children to having that shift, that whole dynamic shift and transfer into a strong matriarchy, you know, with my grandmother who had been my grandfather passed away years before I was born. So she'd been a widow for years. And so it was her and my mom, and we were all just kind of navigating things together and kind of finding our new normal together and where we fit. And for children, it's a whole nother world. You know, I can articulate it better now as an adult, but as a child, you just know, oh, I miss my dad and I don't know what's going on, or, you know, so it was a hard period just because nothing was the same. And my father, he had another family and moved on. And so it was just a whole bunch of roads to navigate to get to where I am now.
Right. And as a child and as you feel so many different emotions, and a lot of times when things go wrong, even though it's not your fault, you somehow start to do like,
oh yeah, you internalize it.
Exactly.
Like, it was me, and especially my father. He was creeping around, and I told my mother, but it wasn't purposefully. So it was really like I was like, oh shoot. I did it. So it was really an additional guilt, you know, because that's what you carry, just because I felt like it was my fault and not that he's an adult and it's his man. That's another thing I learned. That was their marriage, you know, it wasn't me. That was their situation. And although we're byproducts of it, I couldn't contribute to whether the success or the demise of it.
Right. Listen. And so at the same time, I feel like as parents, we don't realize the impact that we have on our children, and we don't realize that our behaviors and the things that we say and how we act and the things that we expose them to literally shape who they're going to be. You know what I mean? And even me as a mother, like it took me going through my own transformation to understand like, oh wait, like a lot of the things that I do and the way that I behave and the way that I react and the way that I say things and my perception of the world and is because of the things that I saw growing up and the things that I experienced. So what I try my hardest to do is to be mindful of how I communicate to my children, what my children see. Sometimes I have my moments where, oh, Lord,
We all do. We all do. We all have moments where we're like,
and then
that's
I just
not
kind of
what I
come
meant.
back and say, I
Yeah.
explain to them what the situation was. Or I'm like straight up, like, look, I need 5 minutes because I feel like I'm about to explode.
Yes.
Give me 5 minutes. I need to breathe. You know what I mean? And you have to be, as a parent, you have to be very, very conscious about that because we're literally shaping who they're going to be as human beings in the world. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
Right. And so sometimes, as children into young adults and adults, you don't realize that you are the way that you are because of the things that you've experienced or your childhood. Right. Or you don't take ownership like, oh, well, this happened to me when I was 5. It's like, well, you're 39 now. Like, let's cut out like, like at some point you take ownership. Right.
At some point you got to take accountability for your own direction.
Right. So it's
things happen to us. You got to be like, hey, look, this was terrible. And I can either sit in it and just let it just navigate the rest of my life, or I can grow from it and heal it and choose better.
Absolutely. That was perfectly said. Like,
I write better than I talk, so thank you.
So then in your chapter, you said running when things got tense was as natural to me as breathing. The difference was that this time I wasn't willing to sacrifice our love and happiness due to my fears and immaturity. Since that day, I never left our home again in anger. It was not an easy change. Flying had become my second nature. At the time, I didn't even realize why.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
My husband, we all have our own stuff. So he had his stuff too. And it came to a point where my stuff was triggering his stuff. It was like, okay, so am I going to just care about my comfort and just sit in that while it hurts somebody that I love? So it really came down to, okay, so am I willing to lose him? Because he sat down and was like, hey, this is triggering and I'm not willing to I love you, but I can't do this. Well, ouch, and it was like, okay, well, what? I had to take a pause and be like, okay, why am I even doing it?
Right.
Why? Because then I'm like, well, I saw it happen and I'm running because I don't want to argue. And there's a difference between arguing and having conversation and communicating. And I didn't know the difference before. I just thought, it's either things are great or things are bad. And I had to take time to see, okay, well, from your perspective, this hurts. So I'm going to have to change it. It's not going to be easy, but I'm willing to try it. And you grow up with mothers and grandmothers and you just know how to be strong. He helped me to be soft and he gave me the security to be vulnerable and to be like, hey, look, this is scary and it hurts, but he made me feel comfortable enough to see him in the things that I needed to change, and nobody else had done that. So I had to at least try. I owed it to him to try because he granted me that safe space that I wanted so desperately, but was also afraid of. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to leap in, I'm going to have to really leap in.
Right.
No turning back.
Oh, I love your husband. I haven't even met him yet. That is so sweet. Oh my gosh. You're like going to make me cry, like for real. That is so
emotional.
Sweet. Like, oh my gosh. Like, that is so sweet. Honestly, because that, like, oh my gosh. Like, that is so sweet because, as a woman, you need a level of security and safety to allow yourself to be vulnerable and allow yourself to be loved because of you having to forever have a wall or a barrier of protection because you've never felt safe emotionally or mentally. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes even physically. So that is like the, oh my gosh. Like, what? Okay, give him a shout out. Give him a shout out because I just can't.
Wesley, I love you so much. I love our family. I love you. You're my best friend. And the world, like now, it's a pandemic and I see people arguing. Our foundation is so strong. We were friends first, and then now we're just in this love together. And it's been 13 years now. We've been married for almost 8 years next month. And it's just, every minute is just fun. And even when it's hard, it's not hard. You know what I mean?
What's his name again? Say it again.
Wesley.
Leslie, we love you. Okay, you are the MVP. Do you hear me? Like oh my gosh, I adore you, and I don't even know you, but like, yes, like I love it. I love it. You can hear it in your voice. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I love that. I like absolutely.
And I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think that could happen, and I'm so thankful that I opened myself up to it.
Yep.
And it wasn't easy and it was scary, but he helped me along the way, and it's all paid off.
So just one more quote from your chapter, and I promise that's my last one, but you said that I thought it was so amazing. You said you're worth more than being objectified, abused, or neglected, no matter what your parents may have shown you. It will take lots of self-reflection and sitting in some uncomfortable and even painful truths. You may have to build your self-esteem, but with effort and God, it is all possible and yours for the taking. Yes, that is 100% true. Like 100.
Yeah. It's easy to let other people in our experiences define us, because it doesn't take power to do that. And it's easy to give your power away when you've been hurt or in a traumatic situation.
Yes.
Part of reclaiming that power is saying who you are, and claiming your own identity. And you have to, every little thing makes up who you are. And it's okay. It's nothing to be ashamed about. It's even the things that are hard and hurt, they still make you who you are. And that's just a beautiful, wonderful, unique being who has something to add to the world and has love to give. And I don't want anyone to be afraid of that. Just dig into it, even when it's uncomfortable.
Right. Absolutely. You better listen to Chenequa. I'm not playing with you because she is not telling one lie. Not one lie. It is absolutely true. Like sometimes we walk around feeling undervalued and feeling that we aren't loved, or we lack self-love, and it literally shows with how we navigate through the world, with what we accept, what we don't accept, the standards that we don't set, the boundaries that we don't set. And you have to deep dive and understand that it's going to be an uncomfortable process, like very uncomfortable. Like it's the most uncomfortable process ever. It's like when you're starting something new and you have no clue, like the nerves and the this, and it's uncomfortable. Yeah. When you get to the other side, that's what you get to do. Breathe. You feel a sense of freedom. It's a sense of euphoria. You feel like you have lifted a weight off of your shoulder. And that's kind of the purpose of this book, is for us to share our stories for people who have gone through similar experiences or still going through similar experiences, to know that there is another side. There is someone that has gone through similar things and you aren't alone. And yes, there is the other side. There is the light at the end of the tunnel. It's just that you have to recognize it and do the necessary work so that you can be better and so that you can step into greatness. And I absolutely love your story. I can relate to your story, Chenequa, and I think that it's super powerful that you shared it and were so transparent, because sometimes it's hard to talk about your experiences. And sometimes you got to unpack or unlock a door that you didn't have.
Again. Right. I did what?
What happened in 1997? Like what? And it's because
got to bring that today.
Right. Like, but it's important. And that was the purpose of this project, was to give everybody a platform to just release and things, because it's just a form of therapy, because you get to just get it out. Even if it's something that you dealt with, it's just different when you write it down and share it. It's a little nerve-wracking, like, oh my gosh, but at the same time, it's just so like
it's bearing, and it's like being naked. It's like being naked, like here I am. This is really me. There's nothing to hide behind when you write.
Exactly. So what's next for you?
What's next is I am working on another project that is more about my father, so, who passed away last year in November. So that's been a bit of a process, just still grieving and writing about it. But it's like I said, you sit in the discomfort and you revisit some of those old wounds that are not completely healed.
Right.
But I think it's from that story and from that experience, I think it'll be relatable. And I think it might help someone else to get to the other side. And that's where I'm trying to get, and writing it lets me know that I'm not quite there yet. But I will get there, and hopefully I'll take someone along with me.
Yes. I'm so excited. I love it. And so, do you have any final words for our audience?
To not be afraid, to love, to follow your dreams, whatever they are, to just be boldly and uniquely you, because no one else can be you. You know, my name is Chenequa. I was saying earlier, I used to be okay with not even, call me what you want, Chenequa, Chiquita, whatever. No, it's Chenequa, and you're going to say it right. And I was born, that's me. That's part of my identity. So be bold, be fierce, be unapologetic, and do the work. It's hard, but it really does pay off.
Yes, I absolutely love it. And how can the audience connect with you?
You can follow me on Instagram. I'm at CC Writer. At Facebook, it's Chenequa Terrell. Those are probably the main platforms, more Instagram than anything else. But I'm there. Just send me a request or a little message. I love to hey.
Yes, I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on this project. I appreciate your contribution to the project. Your story is amazing, and I know that it's going to impact so many people. You did a phenomenal job, just saying. So thank you for being on EVOLV today. We appreciate you for sure, and I'm super excited for everything that's going to come your way, because I know it's going to be amazing. And if I'm working on a couple of projects, you might get a ding from me. Just saying.
Right.
I think you did a really phenomenal job, so I appreciate
you and all the opportunities, and you are bringing all these people together to tell their stories, and that's just phenomenal in itself. You're doing just the Lord's work.
I appreciate
that's what it's all about, love and helping one another, and you're a specialist at that.
Oh, I try to be sometimes, we can. I appreciate you for real. And to our lovely listening audience, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you, sending you hearts and virtual hugs, because we got to social distance, but I appreciate all of you for tuning in. And if you have not known or don't know, we have a virtual book launch coming in October, so make sure you stay tuned and pay attention for that, because we're going to have all of our amazing authors, and you're going to see them live. So right now you're hearing us. Next time you're going to get a visual and see us, and you can ask your questions and all that good stuff. And if you have not gotten a copy of The Evolution Effect, you need to go get that today, like right now. Well, after you've listened to this episode. And go to evolutioneffectbook.com and make sure you get your copy, and make sure you read Chenequa's chapter, Lessons in Flight. So thank you all again. Thank you again, Chenequa, for being here with us today. And for everybody else, we'll see you next time. Bye, beautiful people.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to EVOLV. Stay fearless. unfiltered, and unapologetic. Until next time, special shout out to all of our amazing listeners. You are truly appreciated. Follow our host, Chanel Spencer, at Chanel Spencer Now on Instagram and Facebook. Songs I'm From the South by D21 from Black Mob Entertainment off the 720 God album. Find him on Instagram at only D21.
I'm from the South. I'm from the South.
Unit 10.
Straight out the South, where hitters rock gold teeth straight out your mouth. My niggas don't know peace, fuck is you saying though? Homies he playing though. Know my old dudes bring more than a candle. Bring the heat to them, there they keep talking. Know that they would then. Little dogs barking, step across the line, be south.